We're going to be talking to Mr. Isaac Matare, who is the finance manager in the Bulawayo City Council. He's going to be explaining to us about the credit policy, the benefits, as well as some of the unclear issues that the residents have questions about. So here is the interview.
My name is Isaac Matare. I am a finance manager in charge of revenue in the city of Bulawayo. I work under the financial director.
Okay. Thank you so much. My first question is, what is the credit control and debt recovery policy?
The credit control and debt recovery policy talks to the services that we offer the residents on credit. Anything that's advanced to you on credit, you need to pay it, you do a post payment, and we need to make sure that you pay. So we need to control that credit that we have extended to you to make sure that it's paid. And the debt policy is to manage the level of the debt that is among people that they owe to Bulawayo City Council.
Okay. What inspired the credit policy?
What inspired the credit policy was a realization that our residents, our customers, were not so sure how council treats them in case they are now in arrears. So we had to come up with a document which will inform them that this is how council will handle you in case you're now owing beyond your current bills. We felt a lot of customers were uncertain what next will council do to us. So we had to come up with a credit policy, a document which will show them and they can read at their leisure and understand how council pursues its debts.
Okay. But before becoming of the credit policy, how did the council make sure that the residents are not, do not feel cheated by their own council?
We had an unwritten credit policy which we were implementing. I'll take you down history memory lane. You would find in the townships long back, most of the houses were rented. No one was allowed to own a house. So what would happen if you don't pay by the 7th of the month? You definitely knew that you won't make it to the 20th of the month still living in that house. That was a credit policy which council in those good old days was using. But when we came into independence, we then said no more rental properties, everyone should own his own property. And then this introduced an element of how do you collect your income from somebody who is now an owner. A tenant is easy, you evict, an owner you can't evict. So we had to come up with other credit policy measures, like disconnecting your water supplies, like taking you for legal action, sending summons in order to collect our revenue. So it's been evolving, it's been there, we have been implementing it, but it wasn't in a document form. So there is nothing that we have changed much, it's just documenting some of the things that we have been doing all along.
Is there an instrument or a law that actually provides and says they should be, all local authorities should have credit policy? Or it's just something that the local authority decided to have?
Yes, if you look at the Public Finance and Management Act, it talks about council managing its risk. Giving you credit, it's a risk. You run away with my money. So I need to come up with a way in which I can manage that risk so that I am able to collect my income. So there is that aspect in the Public Finance Management Act which says the City Council should be able to manage its risk. Among those risks that we manage is the credit that we extend to people where they get our services and then pay afterwards.
Before the lockdown came, the Bulawayo City Council was busy conducting consultations in all 29 wards of the city about the credit policy. I'm sure you've gathered the data of the views of the people. What can you say in general? What was the position of the residents when it came to credit policy?
So when we did the outreach, what was quite amazing was the acceptance of the concept. Of course, after acceptance, there were other issues, nothing to do with the credit policy. Generally speaking, most people understood where we were coming from, and they were very happy that we have come up with a document that explains how we will pursue our debt. And the beauty about it, it's, you can also challenge me against my own document to say, no, you're working outside the policy in pursuing this debt. So we wanted to make it clear to them. So the acceptance was amazing. I had the privilege of going to areas outside Bulawayo, peripheral areas like Robert Sinyoka, where people, you can imagine the society around there. They were so eager to come and listen to the credit policy, and they really appreciated what we were trying to address. So on the credit policy, definitely the acceptance was quite amazing.
Okay. Maybe if you can share with us some of the general positives coming from the credit policy towards the residents.
And there are quite a number, because in the credit policy we have also included a lot of benefits that they can enjoy. For example, just to pick a couple of those, if you are above 70 years, the credit policy says you can come and apply so that you get a rebate on your rates. Nowadays, it's a sizable figure. 50% of your rates is quite a sizable figure. It's covered in the credit policy. We also covered how we will treat like child-aided family households, where there are no more parents, it's all children who are now left. If they also apply, they get some benefits from council. We are also talking about the terminally ill in the credit policy. There are certain benefits that they will also get if they follow the procedures outlined. And we also covered issues to do with the Good Samaritans. We call them the Good Samaritans. Right now, here where Bulawayo is shedding water. And when you shed water, water gravitates to the lowest point. And you might find those people living at the lower ends of the system, you have constant water supply, although I've closed the system. So people will gravitate also to those areas to ask for water. And being what we are, abantu abalobuntu, you find people now start giving others water, and this hits them on their bills. So we had to come up with a benefit for those who help others, particularly residential people. We didn't extend it to commercial, where somebody is selling our water to somebody else. So these are some of the benefits that came through for those who read and who heard us talk on our roadshows.
Okay. Maybe you can clarify more on the issue where you are talking about people going to the lower points to get water. What does it mean for those who are at lower points who still have got water? Do they get exempted in a way, or?
Basically, we are saying to the Good Samaritans who don't lose water even when you shed the area, they can keep a record of all the people they have helped with water and record the account numbers on their small register and put the quantity that they've handed out to these people. Then they take that record to the area councillor who knows which areas within his ward do have water. He will certify that for sure, I know this one was helping out others. That record, when it comes to us, we will adjust the account.
On the Code of Ethics, I think it's section 11. It says all city officials shall treat all debtors with dignity and respect at all times. So someone was asking me, when they talk about dignity, what do they mean? Because we have got people who are disabled in our communities, who then, when they've held their water cut, they are now forced to go to boreholes and so on and so forth. What does City Council mean by dignity?
Generally, the perception is that if a person is not paying, you treat him harshly to get your money in. But what we're saying is still an individual who deserves to be respected. When you're dealing with the customers, respect them. Don't look down upon them as though they are owing council. They are the people who are denying Bulawayo to progress. So when we talk of dignity, we mention those things. Even when our teams do go out and do their disconnections, they do come to some places where they find there's a funeral on the house I'm supposed to disconnect. They dignify the person by just informing him we had come to disconnect because there's something happening here, we are moving on. Please, after the funeral, can you find a way of paying us? And also, as part of dignifying people and also giving them benefits, on those occasions when they have funerals, they even inform them that please take your reading before the funeral started and take the reading after the burial, so that council can assist you in this huge bill and these huge gatherings that were happening on your property. Yeah.
Section 28, which talks about account administration, the city will endeavor to ensure that accurate metering of consumption at fixed interval with minimum delay between services connection and first and subsequent billing. I think it talks about the billing, but the question here is it true that, is it not true that the Bulawayo City Council has been using estimation at times to bill the residents, and doesn't that then affect this credit policy in a way of saying meeting accuracy?
Basically what we are saying is we will endeavor to read you from the time you come to open an account. Anyone who is opening an account with us, we'll make sure we get your first reading. And then after that, the subsequent readings, just like the general readings that we do within an area. Wherever we fail to read individuals, we then follow the law, which is the statutory instrument of 390/1980, which outlines how you are going to estimate people if you fail to read them for one reason or another. That statutory instrument 390 of 1980, it basically says make an average of the previous consumptions. And we then average your last 3 consumptions, and they become your latest consumptions, and we move forward. I will hasten to say we had a program of saying even if we fail to read you every month, we'll try to read you once in 3 months. The general challenge that we face with our customers is that when we call at their houses, they are not there. And my meter readers will not jump Jura walls to go and pick readings in an empty property, lest they mistaken them for thieves or other things. So they will just pass. And when they pass, the owner of the house will then claim, I've never seen a meter reader. Because the time when my readers come, they are not available. Or sometimes when they do come and they are available, you find they don't want to open their premises for us to pick readings. So you might find some properties, even if we get to them, we are unable to pick readings because they are scared. You can imagine the increase in crime. Some people are scared to just open to everyone. But our team move around with ID cards, they put on BCC uniforms, but you still feel some people are very apprehensive allowing strangers into their properties.
Doesn't Bulawayo City Council have an alternative platform where residents maybe can log in online and submit their own readings?
It's quite interesting that you're bringing that up, because every meter reader, when he goes out and he fails to read a property, he leaves a note to say, I passed through your house, please can you complete this form and bring it to the office. We have now created a platform on e-registration where you go to our website, www.citybyo.co.zw. If you go in there and you are registered, there's a place where you can even read your meter and put the readings on that platform. And if you are able to phone us, fine, you can phone us and give us the readings. We'll use your readings and bill you on the basis of your own readings.
In section 29, although the city must render an account for the amount due by a debtor, failure thereof shall not relieve a debtor of the obligation to pay this account. That's section 29. So my question is, what could be the circumstances that may lead to the council not to provide a statement to the debtor?
A typical example is the COVID-19. We could not move and give you your bills during that period. We couldn't allow our staff members to go out delivering bills. In such a situation, we are saying, you know you enjoyed a service, you got water, you got everything else from council, pay for it. That's the feeling of that clause. That even if I fail to send you a bill, the onus is on you to pay your bills on time. There are many ways in which we can give you your bill. We do send balances through SMS platform. Those who have already registered on our website, they can see their bills in real time and they can pay us, as well as phoning us. We'll give you your balances over the phone and tell you how much you need to pay. So that clause was meant to say, no matter what happens, we are still open for business. Talk to us, we'll give you your balances, you can pay us.
Okay. And section 59 talks about staff and councillors in areas. The interesting question coming from this one is it not possible to publish the accounts of public councillors so that we know their accounts if they're in areas, or it's something that is private and confidential?
When you sign our agreement for any service, whether I'm selling you land or otherwise, there's that confidentiality clause in it. We cannot disclose other people's details somehow, unless that person, you approach him and he shares his bill with you, that's his own lookout. But with us, we don't.
Okay, but does it also include the local leaders? Because we've had a situation here in Bulawayo where residents have complained about the previous councillors, that there was a lot of corruption going on, and somehow they wanted councillors who were coming in to actually declare their assets. And one of the things that they encouraged was declaring of their accounts so that people get to know the councillor so and so, or so much, councillor so and so is consuming so much at such and such a place.
Okay. I'll repeat again. When it comes to information I have about a particular customer, be it a staff member, a councillor, or otherwise, yes, I'm not at liberty to share that information with others. But what I will hasten to say, there are certain issues that are beyond this office that have to do with councillors. You might need to also revisit the electoral laws when they are being elected or registering for election. You might find they might need clearance from us for them to be considered as candidates. But on that score, we are dealing with it on a different ballgame, not as a debtor, but as somebody who wants to occupy that position. He has to prove he's clean on his debts.
Going off now the document, but still on the issue of the credit policy and the debt collection. Like any other policy, I know the City Council did some consultations. Unfortunately, COVID came into place. Were there any other platforms that the document can be accessed for people to read for deeper reading and so on?
Okay, the document was placed on the website. It's available among our documents. So those who want to read in detail, they can get it from there. Unfortunately, we have not printed enough copies so that whoever wants to come and pick a copy, we can give him. We are still working on that. As you notice, we then moved into COVID. Our plans were a little bit affected when it came to printing the document. But I'm happy to mention that a number of people have come forward on individual basis and they've asked us for a copy. We have sent them on email. Those we managed to, we did send them on their WhatsApp numbers.
Okay. As a finance manager, earlier on you spoke about when someone owes you money, at times you need to be harsh in terms of collecting the money. And the City Council at times it does disconnect residents' water. But doesn't that come into conflict with the Bill of Rights enshrined in the Constitution of the country, which speaks about the right to water?
I will talk like a layman. I'm not a legal fundi person. In terms of the Constitution, it says water is a right to everyone. meaning any water surface that you find in this country, it's free to everyone. But the moment that water is taken by somebody and processed for you, that right somehow is no longer enforceable. Just the same way as the Constitution says food is a right. It means meal is a right to you. But if you are now going to say to the producer of that meal, I'm taking it as a right, it's the same concept with water. I've processed this water, I've pumped it from Nema for your benefit. I've added value to that water. Now you need to pay for those services that have been added onto that water. So generally speaking, we're saying we have done something to the surface water. If you go to Nema and scoop some water there, it's surface water. It's all up to you. If you go to a river, it's flowing, you drain the water, it's surface water. That's what the Constitution covers. Once that water is taken away from the surfaces or under the ground, it now becomes the individual's water. You can't then go there and say, I need this water because I have a right. It's almost like going into somebody's house who has this container of water in this time we're shedding and saying, I'm taking this container, it's mine. You can see the chaos it will create. Yeah.
Okay. My last question, I think we'll be more biased towards the residents and forgetting about the council. When this credit policy comes into effect and starts working, what are some of the positives that are going to be noted by the city council or projected by the city council?
The very first positive is the image of council will improve, because we are now talking at the same level. You now understand where I'm coming from in terms of credit management. There are no more confusions on this issue. The second benefit that we are going to get is that it will bring us closer to our residents. We were talking like we were far from each other. It's like I'm throwing a stone, he's throwing a stone, but we say, no, let's not throw stones, let's come and sit and discuss this. So that credit policy has empowered them to know how can I engage council if I'm now in debt. You find a lot of people were staying out there not knowing where next to go. So for us as council, it improves our interaction with the residents and we can show them alternatives of how they can pay council. The third benefit is that we will be able to reduce the indebtedness among people as they find that council is amenable to other forms of payment, so other arrangements. They will feel free to come to us to say, oh, let me go and talk to them. Instead of me paying this large amount, I can spread it over a longer period. Some people don't know that. So it will improve our cash flows as we move along. And finally, the biggest benefit is that we will grow the city of Bulawayo. Because for it to grow, for all the services to be there, for everything to be put in place, it all depends on the cash available. And that cash comes from the customer. So for us to develop Bulawayo, we needed a credit policy to guide each other, how you pay us, and how we treat each other when you owe us monies. Yeah.
In some of the meetings that I attended, where the council was doing the consultation on the credit policy, there was a fear when it comes to Section 40, which talks about actions to secure payment, talks about the final demands and so on. Then somehow it gets to legal action. When it comes to legal action, does it mean that it will arrive at a point where someone will lose property because of the debt that they owe to the council?
What we are doing, we're empowering the customer, because in the credit policy we are saying these are the steps we will do. After so many days, we will move to this next level. And if you don't respond at that level, so we are telling you, respond so that you don't lose your property. The tendency is when we start moving through the legal channels, people simply ignore the legal documents we send to them, resulting in default judgments. So in that document, we were very specific. If you are a customer who owes us water, we will start at this level, we'll send you a reminder will send you, a final demand will send you, a notice of disconnection after 24 hours. We then come and disconnect. If you don't pay, we tabulated it so nicely, such that a person can easily follow that now they are at this stage. I should anticipate legal action, and I should be able to go and defend myself at court so that I don't lose my property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matare. Maybe if you have got a few points to share with us, besides what we have discussed, still on the credit policy, you can share some.
What I need to inform the residents of Bulawayo is that don't be scared of the document. As long as you read it properly and interact with us, you have nothing to fear from City of Bulawayo. That document, it's not a new creation, it's the things that we were doing before we documented them down. We haven't changed our way of operation, but we have empowered you with a document. And then finally, what I wanted to say, which was of big concern during our outreach program, we are not going to take away homes of the deceased. But what we are saying, please tell us who is administering the estate. I need to emphasize this. A lot of people were now saying council is planning to take away all the homes of the deceased. That's not the picture. Council is just saying in the policy, tell us who is the administrator. Because I cannot pursue a debt to a dead person. He's dead, he stopped existing. So I need somebody existing who is running this property so that we can continue talking with each other. Thank you.